The movie I'm reviewing today is The Cobbler, which was released in 2014 and is rated PG-13. It stars comedian actor Adam Sandler, who's known for his foul mouth and crude humor. And then also you have Method Man, who's a known rapper, who's also known for having a foul mouth. This movie begins in Lower East Side, New York, in 1903. Sorry about that. Where you're introduced to Max Sipkin as a kid. Well, then the movie goes into where Max Sipkin owns the Cobbler Shoe Repair Shop, which his father owned when he was a kid. Basically, what it is a repair shoe shop is what he owns, and his Max basically wishes that he had a different life, wishes he could be someone else instead of having to take over his father's business. Basically what ends up happening is when his old shoe sewing machine breaks down, he ends up having to use his father's old sewing shoe machine, and the sewing machine has, I guess, special powers, and for every shoe he repairs with that sewing machine, if he puts the shoes on, he becomes that person. He ends up finding this out because this guy, Method Man's character, brings in a pair of expensive gator shoes. And after he's done, repairing them, he ends up putting them on because they're expensive shoes. He figures he wants to see how they look on him, and transforms him into Method Man's character. Well, then from there, he ends up misusing these powers even more by using the machine to sew other people's shoes. And the funniest scene is when he puts on the shoes of a dead guy, and he starts screaming, "Oh my, he's dead!" I was laughing on that scene. However, I did not like the fact that they used Lord's name in vain. That was not funny. It's just the fact when he puts on shoes, he turns into a rotten corpse. Okay? Which was kind of funny. And, he ends up getting greedy with these powers, misusing them. He ends up, using his shoes, the powers of the shoes, to steal shoes from people. He also ends up stealing expensive cars. It basically lets the power go to his head. And however, he ends up doing a good thing with the powers. He doesn't do all corrupt things, like the scene where his mother, he asks the mom, "Do you ever wish to be someone else?" And she says, "No, because I have you." And then he goes, "Well, what would you wish for?" And she goes, "I'd wish to see your dad. I'd wish to have dinner with your dad." So he ends up putting on his dad's shoes after using the sewing machine and becomes his father. And he ends up having dinner with his mom, granting her wish. She doesn't know it's her son. And what ends up happening after that, shortly after that, she dies in her sleep. She got to see her husband one last time and end up dying in her sleep. And the movie has some good morals. It has the moral of learning to be yourself, how to deal with loss. However, the movie has some cuss words in it. It has the F word being used once. The SH word. SH is used 4 times. Lord's name in vain 2 times. And the H word used a couple times. Altogether, this movie has 7 cuss words in it. And, what Max, it's about when he's using these shoes, he's having actually a good time. He doesn't realize what he's doing. He hasn't realized that what he's doing is wrong. He basically just wants to have fun, and later on he realizes that he should just be himself, and So it does have good morals. But the problem is there's one scene where you get to see he's being someone else. He's about to mess around with this girl. He walks in to shower. She's half naked. Her top of her boobs are exposed, not her nipples, but just a little bit of the top. So yeah, and he makes a comment about it, a sexual reference being used, and he thinks better of it. There is that scene, where they didn't show enough to get R-rated rating, obviously, but he ends up realizing he shouldn't mess around with her, shouldn't take advantage of her. However, they should never show that scene. That was the one scene that was questionable, which was pretty close to R rating, but not close enough. They didn't show too much. Like I said, 7 cuss words. Now, this movie ain't typically that bad. PG-13 movies are usually worse. I'll say this. Hollywood did better on this film than what they usually do. I'll give them that. But they used 2 worst curse words, which is the F word and God's name being used in vain. This has been Timothy Witham for Movies Christians Shouldn't Watch. Let me say this before I finish up. This isn't as bad as typical Hollywood movies usually are, but this one, they should never use the Lord's name in vain, and why use the F word in a PG-13 film? That's just ridiculous. Like I said, it's been Timothy Witham when Movies Christians Shouldn't Watch.